Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Star Wars Wednesday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron Boonta Eve Battle Pack. Let's get into it! Let's start things off with a look at the packaging. And here on the top we have Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron. A bit of a window here to let light in from the top and to give you a bit of a view from there. Not that you can really see it with all the glaring lights and stuff. Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron Series 1. There's Anakin and Sebulba. Nice big window showcasing both of their pod racers. And then here at the bottom, that nice chromey deco on the box that never shows up very well on the chroma key. Boonta Eve Battle Pack. Warning! Don't stick things in your pie hole that do not belong there. It's number 0068. On the bottom, don't give it to babies. Symbols I'm not going to learn. Small fine legalese print, made in China print, a barcode, and this number here. On this side, there's some Arabish right there next to the window. Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron. On the other side, Star Wars and some nice pod racing artwork. Disney print. On the back, there's two cards, one for each vehicle, and it shows you some of the features of the vehicles. And there's some like holograms of the vehicles, and then here's another thing that it does. And it's Anakin's pod racer and Sebulba's pod racer, and there's some more Arabish, and then Anakin's pod racer and Sebulba's pod racer. And Disney print, StarWars.com print, Micro Galaxy Squadron, and that, my friends, is a look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figures, accessories, and vehicles. And let's start off with the figures, and we'll start off with a Doug, an especially dangerous Doug named Sebulba. And I have to say, you know, it's got some nice molded details for this side, and you can definitely tell that this is supposed to be Sebulba. Nice little paint apps. And I'm not sure which are the paint apps and which is the mold color. So, but as far as articulation goes, he's got some here. You know, he can scrunch up like that, and they are connected together, just like all the Micro Galaxy Squadron stuff. And the top arms will swivel around 360 degrees, but you do have to bend them out a little bit to get them around these other legs, but they'll go all the way up to his chin and out like that. So there is an especially dangerous Doug Sebulba. Let's take a look at little Annie Skywalker. And again, it's got nice molded details, and it's got some decent paint apps on it, and a little bit of fade here, so that's kind of neat. And then a nice silver for the helmet with a little bit of, I'm guessing, orange right there. If it's not orange, please, you know, I'm colorblind, don't make fun of handicapped people. So you can definitely tell this is a little Orphan Annie, and it even got some of that fade back here as well. A little bit of a paint app for the belt, it looks like. As far as his articulation goes, the arms will swivel around 360 degrees, and again they're connected. Legs as well, and they will put him into a seated position at 90 degrees. Yeah, 90 degrees. But back 0. So there's that. Now let's take a look at the accessories, which are the stands for him. And you know, these particular stands might be new, but as far as the design and stuff of them is really not. You know, it's clear stand. It's got Star Wars stamped in. It's got this vent right here, or maybe that's supposed to be a hologram emitter, I don't know. And then, but this one has these V-shaped wings on it with tabs at the end where they insert into the pods of the pod racers. And there's the one for Anakin's, and we'll take a look at how they work in a moment. And same all holds true for Sebulba's, only his is a little bit heftier. Not weight-wise, but maybe built a little bit sturdier because it's supporting a bit more weight. And again, it's got tabs on it. But these are L-shaped tabs. But again, that little vent detail, the vent detail's over here, and the Star Wars logo. So there's that. Now let's move Anakin's racer out of the way for a moment. And we'll take a look at Sebulba's. It's got some nice molded detail to it. I mean, just throughout, it's very, especially for this scale, it's very, very cool looking. Yeah. So it's got paint apps just all over it, it looks like. This part might be molded in silver plastic as well as this. It's hard to tell. Yeah, this is molded in plastic, in silver plastic. This, however, might be a paint app. But then we've got these nice paint details here, and it's dirtied up a little bit as well, like it should be. And then we get back here to the cart part of it, and you see these hoses, and there is a little bit of movement in there, a little bit of articulation in here too. It's all on ball joints, so there is a little bit of flex and give, and you know, like that. And there's ball joints here as well, so you get a little bit of movement in there. And you can see all this is molded in clear plastic right here with some silver paint apps on it, and then silver paint apps here, and then some paint apps right here on the sides, and they do go around the bottom as well, and even paint app here, and again a little bit of a wash to kind of dirty it up. And the way Sebulba goes in, you put his hands, I guess, all the way up, and put his legs kind of forward, and it's not the easiest to get him in here. But just work out a little bit, you can get him in there, and then once you get him in there, you can adjust these down to where it looks like they're working the controls. And then as far as his stand goes, I want to say it goes this way, yeah. Because you see here on the bottom, it's got these kind of L-shaped sockets, I guess. Not really sockets, ports. And there's how that works, and then he sits like that. So let's move him out of the way. Let's take a look at Little Orphan Annie's pod. And his has a little bit more articulation to it. And you see these ball joints for the energy binders, and you know, they work all around there. And then ball joints where the hose is attached, so you know, you got that. And then here where the hose is attached as well, although not quite as much of a range of motion, but you know, you get the idea. So that's cool. Then these vanes, steering vanes, I guess they are on hinges right here, and they do open up that far, and that goes for both. No spinning or anything like that going on. Nice, just paint apps all over. Deco here, 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 Those don't open. And we've got some on the inside here as well, and then matching on this side. And then these, I'm guessing, are tampos on the end of the steering vanes or speed vanes or whatever. And then I would have liked to have seen a little bit of black wash on this. Would have been nice. This looks like it's molded in this silvery gray kind of plastic. It's got these blue paint apps on it, and I have to say they're pretty nice and kind of crisp looking. They're very crisp, actually. And then there's some cockpit details right there. And then this little tampo here, and this tampo up here. This may actually be a tampo. I'm not sure if it's a tampo or just a paint app, or how it works. But you can see up here it's weathered a little bit with some, like the paint's peeling off because he's driving so fast maybe. But not a lot. I don't see a whole lot of wash going on this piece. So in the way Anakin sits in it, straighten his arms up a little bit, put him in a seated position, and just kind of get his legs in there. And you can adjust his arms a little bit. And there we have it. Now how his stand works, very similar to Sebulba's on the other side here. It's got some slots, and that's what I was trying to say earlier when I was talking about Sebulba's when I said sockets. So slots and the tabs on the stand just fit right in there. You mash them down a little bit, and then there is Annie on his, and then here comes Sebulba. That, my friends, is a look at the figures, vehicles, and accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the Micro Galaxy Squadron Boonta Eve Battle Pack with Sebulba and Pod Racer, and Anakin Skywalker and Pod Racer, with several Micro Galaxy Squadron blind box speeder bikes, Count Dooku and Speeder, Darth Maul and Sith Speeder, Din Djarin and Speeder, Tusken Raider and Swoop Bike, Imperial Patrol Officer with Imperial Patrol Speeder, and First Order Stormtrooper with the First Order Tread Speeder. For our final set of comparisons, here we have the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron Boonta Eve Battle Pack of Sebulba with Pod Racer and Anakin Skywalker with Pod Racer, with the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron Imperial Troop Transport and the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron AT-ST, or Chicken Walker. For final thoughts on the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron Boonta Eve Battle Pack, I have to say, you know, these are really good representations 25 years down the road of these vehicles. And it's not to say that Hasbro did a bad job on their Phantom Menace line back in '99, because they actually included some features on Sebulba's pod that ended up on the cutting room floor of the movie that you didn't really get to see, like flashing his vents and a little saw thing coming out, and so there were some things from deleted scenes that made it onto the toy because of the, you know, the lead time on these kind of things, and then, you know, they changed it in the final of the production. So it's not to say that those versions were bad. They might not be as representatively scaled as these two. Now, Sebulba's was bigger than Anakin's, but I think this set showcases that a little more. I think the two pod racers are more to scale with each other than the old 99 Hasbro ones. So that's cool. I like the stands. I'm glad that they came with stands. It makes it much easier to display these floating vehicles. And I like the paint apps. I wish Anakin's had a little bit of weathering on it. I wish Sebulba's had a little more weathering on it. A paint wash weathering, that is. But yeah, other than that, these look great. There's the added benefit of the ball jointed articulation on the hoses and the power links. So, you know, was an interesting choice as well. I think that actually works better than what Hasbro did with theirs, which were, you know, kind of metal rods rather than the hoses. But, you know, that's the difference in the technology and the times and the engineering. But I don't really know if those 3 3/4 scale vehicles would have worked well with the ball joints. They would have been very, very stiff. And these aren't real loose by any means, but, you know, just to support the weight of the vehicle at that different scale, I think it, you know, it makes it a little bit harder to do something that looks like this. As far as the figures goes, I like the fade that they did on Anakin's clothes to give him that kind of sandy, dirty Tatooine look. And then, you know, just the mold of Sebulba, it looks great, and it works great in the context of the pod race. And the deco on these things is nice, and I think this is a nice piece, and I like it, even though I do think the pod race in the movie ran a little long. Maybe should have been one lap shorter. I don't know. It just seems like when you're watching the movie, the pod race goes on and on and on, and it never ends until it finally does. But that's, you know, that's my opinion. Your mileage, of course, may vary. Well, that does it for the review. I hope that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I'm now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content, or just help channel grow, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.